everybody. I'm really happy that so many people came today. My name is Mike Strunin. I've been working in web development for the last 15 years or so. At first I was working as a web designer, then as a programmer. Most of my time I was working as a project manager and as an account manager. What I will be talking today is about how to build your website. It will not be about different technical stuff. It will be more about organizing your work and what you should do before you start actually programming your website. Because the preparation, the work before the website, is actually more important than making the website. Usually, to make a website, it takes a very small amount of time, even for a very big and complicated project. Actual programming, actual designing takes a fraction of time from all the other work, from all the design work, from all the analytical work, from writing all the content. So, let's start. Why do you even need a website? There are only three main points why you ever need to make a website. It can be either to promote your brand and to increase your brand visibility, so kind of a promotional project when you don't care about any sales, where you just want to show yourself to the world, or when you want to improve your image. For example, like H&M is doing right now this big campaign about recycling clothes. They're doing this thing only because everybody hates H&M, that they're using all this slave labor in the poor countries. So they're trying to improve their image, and this recycling thing, it has nothing to do with sales. It has to do only with their image. The second point is like the most popular and important one, is to get new clients, partners or suppliers. So to put yourself out in the world and to get somebody to work with you, to sell your stuff or to find some partner or to find some supplier. This is the most common case, and it's obvious and it's easy when you're building an online shop or you're promoting your own services. And the third point is to communicate and to work with your existing suppliers, customers, partners, etc. So sometimes you have already lots of customers, you already have lots of clients or a lot of partners, and you need to optimize your work, to lower your expenses on your work, and to work with them better. So you don't need to actively sell something to them, you just need to make your work more comfortable. For example, if you're a big wholesaler and you're selling lots of stuff online, and you need to update your warehouse, and you need to send all these updates to your clients, and you need to communicate with them easier. So this is more for the wholesalers, and this is more for companies who don't want any new clients, who want only to communicate with them and to lower their expenses. And the thing is that you can't make everything a high priority. This is like a zero-sum game. You can, for example, spend 70% here and maybe 30% here, but you can't make 100% into your brand, 100% into selling stuff. You should decide what is of high priority for you. You should decide what is more important for you and to concentrate on one thing instead of wasting your attention on many things at the same time. So how the websites are built. I will describe the process of how the websites are built in web design studios, in small, in medium and big design studios. So this is like the usual process of how every website, every web project, almost any project is usually made. So at first you need to make a research about your business and to decide what you really need. Sometimes it's one of the longest stages because you need to decide what you are actually doing. You need to think about your competition, you need to think about your products, you need to think about what you really like and what you really need, and to set the goals before you. The next step is when you set some kind of goals and you want to try to see for yourself how it will work. You need to put this picture from inside your head, outside of your head, and try to actually do something. So making a very primitive, very simple mock-up, like this. This is a wireframe or a mock-up. You make a very simple mock-up and you try to make it like a visual thing, you try to make a first sketch of your design. At this stage you can understand how it looks, you can criticize some visual aspects of it, and you can understand what you like and what you don't like in your particular future website. So you are deciding on the looks and you are deciding on what to show on your website. The next stage is usually making a full prototype of your website. So you can make an actual fully functional website without almost any programming at all. There are special tools for that. For example, Azure RP, there is Balsamiq mockups, there are lots of tools for making mockups, for making wireframes. When you make a wireframe, it also looks somewhat like this, but instead of empty blocks, you fill in all the content you have. So you have like your full website, but it's not working. You can't sell anything on this website, but you can browse all your pages, you can see how it's usable, you can see how it's good in user experience for your future clients, and you can test all the things. So before sending it into production, before giving to-dos for your designers and for your programmers, almost a small team of a couple of people can make a full prototype of the whole website with all the content inside, just to test it out. And next step is actually one of the fastest one, is to actually make a website. When you give to-dos to your designers, when you give work to your programmers, and they're just filling in all the blank spaces. They're just making pixel perfect icons, they're making illustrations. It's the easiest part actually. So all the hard work is in the first 3 steps. On the 4th step, you just need to make it. And then you just publish it. So what's about research and business analysis? When we were working with big companies and small companies, with any companies, we had this kind of business analysis document. We called it a brief, but it wasn't actually that brief. It was like 20 or 30 pages long. And during work with the document, our clients sometimes realized many things about themselves, and sometimes they found something they didn't even know about themselves before that. Because sometimes many things that you think are very obvious for you, that are so obvious that you don't even have to say them, when you write them down on paper, you actually understand that they are a lot more complicated and there are a lot of more details in them. So you actually need to write it down to understand it better. So the first part is to write down all the terms and the structure of your company's products and services. For example, if you have an online shop, you are selling dresses for girls, for example. You need to write down all the categories you have for your clothes, for girls. For example, you have 5 dresses, you have 10 pants, and you have a couple of jackets. You should write all the price brackets, you should write how many different styles you have, all the information you can get about your products and your services. You should write down and try to make it into a list. Because after you write it down, you will understand how you should organize and order it on your future website. For example, if you have only 5 dresses, maybe you don't need a special dresses category on your website. Maybe if you have only 15 products, you need only one big page with all your products on the same page. Or maybe if there is different amount of clothes in different categories, you should divide them in a different way. If you have a lot of pants, maybe you should focus only on the pants and make all the other products into different category and make it secondary. Or you should divide all your clothes depending on the style, like sport clothes, casual clothes, dress-up clothes, something like that. The next step is to think about your current website. Maybe you already have a website and you don't even know how it works for you. Is it good? Is it bad? You should think what were you thinking when you started making it. What were your actual goals before? What were expectations about your website? Maybe you expected something, but in the end it turns out differently. For example, you have a cafe or restaurant. You are thinking that it's only to show pictures of how it is inside. You were thinking that you will have a menu, and you were thinking that you will have reservations. But in the end, it ended up that you were too lazy, or you didn't have any time to update the menu, for example, and you need a faster way to update the menu. Or, for example, it ended up that you get lots of reservations only from your website, and people are not calling, they are making reservations online. So in some ways it may be working unexpectedly better, and in some ways unexpectedly worse than you thought. So you should try to analyze what is working and what is not working right now for you. Analyze the competition. The thing about the competition is that actually nobody is better or worse than another person. We are all different, and we should not throw like generic big words that we are the cheapest, the biggest, the best, etc. We should find things that are different in us from our competition and try to promote them. That's the biggest problem when we try to introduce our company. We don't know how to introduce it. We bubble into very generic terms, into very generic adjectives. So write down all the companies that are in your industry that are making you a competition and make it into 2 columns. In one column, write down how you are better than them and in which ways you are worse than them. So after that, you will understand your place among your competition. And then you should make profiles of your target audience. There could be lots of different profiles of your target audience. There can be lots of different social groups. There could be lots of different age groups, different kinds of people in your target audience. But at this stage, especially if you're making your first website, try to think about the smallest and the most, about your fans. Try to find the small group that will be your first and your best clients, who will be your early adopters. So these people, they will work with you and they will give you the most feedback. And at first, when you don't have a lot of clients, you have to make some kind of connection with them. You have to get some feedback from them to understand where you're going after that. And only after you have this small group of early adopters, you can think about who else may be suitable for your business. How often you need to update the website? It's again about this menu and the restaurant, for example. There are some parts of the website that will be updated often and some parts that won't be updated often. So if you need to update your menu like every week or every month, you need to find a way how to do it very fast. For example, you can publish the menu in the PDF and don't care about all these pages and web design stuff. Sometimes just uploading the PDF is faster and it's easier for your clients. It's easy for them to just download the PDF from the website and just look at it from their phone. Sometimes it's good enough for you. But sometimes you have some pages and some products that you update very rarely, like once a year, 2 times a year. And these pages, if you don't update them that often, you can put a lot of attention, a lot of effort into making them better. For example, if you make shoes and you have only 5 models of shoes, you can make a page for each model, beautiful and very, very detailed, with lots of information about them. Describe your brand image in several adjectives. Yes, just 4 or 5 words to describe how you perceive yourself. Like calm, silent. Look at the websites you like. This should be mostly the websites from the same industry as your own industry, but you can also take some websites just that you generally like. Take a list, for example, of 15 websites, and again 2 columns, and in each column there should be 3 lines, 3 or 4 lines, maybe less, maybe more, and write down what you actually like about their website and what you hate about their website. What part of your user experience you like and you hate. At the same time, being a user of these websites, try to imagine that you are actually an owner of these websites. It will help you later with the design, because sometimes when we design something, we think too much about ourselves and we think that design should please us, but it shouldn't please us, it should please our customers. So think about like you're an owner, and maybe this website doesn't look good for you as an owner, but it looks good for you as a client. For example, Amazon or eBay, they don't look that good, but they work really good. Gather all the materials you have about your company and order them into folders somewhere on your computer. Sometimes we have lots of product images, we have lots of pictures, lots of photos, lots of articles from the news, from the newspaper, from the magazines. We have logos, we have some kind of mood boards, we have something that we like. Pinterest boards, something like that. You should gather all this information and structure them into one folder. Sometimes we never have time to do this. So next step, after we've done this kind of research and after we try to understand what we're actually doing, we can try to start to make a map of our website, to start to make a wireframe of our website. And we are starting from the big and to small. The first step is to create a website map. So just name all the pages you have and make a graph out of them, how they are connected, from which page person goes to another page. The thing is, maybe at the first you don't need many pages at all. For example, maybe you need only one really long page. Scrolling is always better than clicking, and maybe one page for a start, for your first project, will be enough. Often we pay too much attention to the auxiliary pages like contact us, about, feedback, that we don't really need. When you're making a website map, at first think about your products and your services and try to map them into categories. Which one you should put together in one page, which ones should be separated, and how they should be organized. Never make anything more than 2 levels deep. So nothing should be more than 2 clicks deeper in the menu. Think about them. And all these pages like About Us, Contacts, etc. Sometimes they should be only one page. That is at the same time About Us, Contacts and Feedback. And if you are selling your services, maybe this page should be a part of every page on your website. Maybe you should put in the footer and the bottom part of your website your contact form and your short bio and your short information about yourself. So every page of your website will be a contact us page, every page of your website will be a feedback page, every page of your website will get your customers. Because often it will be the first and the last page your client will ever visit. And people, they never go to the front page. They usually reach you through Facebook, they reach you through search engines, and then they come to you through Google. The first page of your website is not a front page. The first page of your website is the inner page with your actual product. So sometimes it doesn't actually matter how your front page looks. The most important is your inner pages, your product pages. Next step is to make a wireframe for a page. This is like when you put different boxes that represent pictures, blocks of texts, buttons, logo, menu, etc. The point of this thing is to give you a feel that you don't have all the space you need. When you're doing it, you're starting to realize that you have to prioritize things again. You have to make something bigger and make something smaller. And you start to think what should be bigger and what should be smaller. You can't make everything big. When you make everything bold, nothing is bold. So you need to make some kind of contrasts. You need to organize some stuff that wouldn't be too boring, that shouldn't be too the same on your page. It should tell you a story. There should be some kind of a rhythm in your page. And the last part is the structure of your content. This is not exactly a wireframe, but it's also a part of structuring everything. When you're writing any text, before writing it, you should make a structure of your text. So if you have, for example, text for 5 paragraphs, you should write 5 points that you're trying to make in these 5 paragraphs. So before writing anything, make a plan of what you are writing. I don't know if something that I say is too obvious or if something that I say is too complicated. If you have any questions, I can stop anytime and answer some questions. Yes?
I have a question. I didn't understand what when you said about that the first page is not so important as inner page.
Yes, because you start from the inner pages. For example, you Google, I have a shop for French lace. And most of the time people Google for wedding dress, for example, or for bridal gown. And when they Google for it, they go to the shop section for wedding laces. So they don't see my front page, they see laces. They start looking at my website, not from the front page, but from the inner page, from the section with all the laces.
Okay.
So often, actually, the front page is the last page that they see. So then they browse all the laces, when they choose some products, then they choose something that they like. After that, they're interested. Oh, what is happening on the front page? Maybe there is something interested. And the last page sometimes is the front page. So the two biggest problems. When we were making websites in a web design studio, it could take us like 2 years or 1 year to make one project that could have been done in 1 month. Because there are two big problems with making any website. The first problem is making a design, like visual style. A design not in the sense of the structure, but design in the sense of visual style. Because everybody's tastes are very different, and everybody wants to make the website very, very personal. And we were specializing on very beautiful websites with lots of illustrations. So for many clients, all this website thing was like a game. So they wanted just to be entertained by the whole process, and it could take them months and months just choosing which style they like, what they don't like, and often they're overthinking if their clients will understand something or they will not understand something. So how to solve the problem of the design? The first thing is you should design for your audience and not for yourself. You should think about your clients and not about your own tastes. Then it's function over looks. People don't care that much about visual side of the design. They care about how easy it is for them to read it and how easy for them it is to use it. For example, Wikipedia, Amazon, eBay, people read articles, people buy things, they don't care about your looks. They care about what you're trying to say to them, and they care about how you give them this information. So the design is actually always starts with the content. You never can ever make any visual design before content. At first, you should write all the content you have, you should prepare all the structures, and only after that you can work with all these limitations, with all these restrictions you made for yourself, and create something appropriate for it. And the second problem is actually the content. Because it's always very hard to write down and to organize everything that you want to write or everything you want to say. Yes, it's quite a big problem. So you need to plan and structure content, as I already said, and how to write it is actually have to get very real. You should think about how you're actually talking to your customers. Many people, they try to write something like they're writing for a magazine. Like in a beautiful words, in a beautiful sentences that are not very realistic. You need to think in what words you communicate to your actual friends, to your actual clients, and you need to make yourself feel like a real human being. Because the point with the internet nowadays is that we need to trust the person from whom we are buying something or with whom we are going to work. So you need to show yourself. You need to show, for example, your picture of yourself. You need to show your personal style. You need to build some kind of honesty and be straightforward with them, be honest with them. So, about design. Nowadays, like 10 years ago, everybody was making their own website the way, like they were inventing something new. Every website was inventing a new kind of interface, a new kind of visuals, a new kind of visual styles. Now, more or less, all the websites look the same. They use the same principles, they use the same style, they use the same guidelines, they are all very content-oriented. So how to make it personal is you can do it in like 3 easy steps. Minimum viable design is your brand, your fonts, and your colors. The first point is your brand. You need to pick a name that will be very easily Googleable. So if you put it on Google, you can find yourself, and it's not too many results with other companies with the same name or with something other very, very popular. For example, there is a very popular online Twitter. It's like a virtual for Taylor Swift. It's called Security. And there was another conference for security that was also called Security. And now, because of this fake Taylor Swift Twitter that talks about computer security, nobody can find this conference. Because everybody who searches for security now finds Taylor Swift fake Twitter. And you should think that it should be simple enough so you can spell it on the phone. Some things are very hard to spell on the phone. My French lace shop is french-lace.com. It's very easy. And write it down in some nice font, but don't try to over-decorate, don't go too much into it. Just choose a simple but nice-looking font. And back to fonts. There is a thing called Google Fonts. Google bought a lot of very, very beautiful and very good fonts and made them available online for everybody, and you can download lots of them. You can download lots of fonts. And people who are using these fonts, they make lots of combinations of them. Actually, you need 2 fonts for your website, one for the headings and one for the paragraphs. And if you go to this website, or if you just Google fonts combinations, you will find lots of websites with beautiful fonts combinations. You can just pick any combination that you like and go with it. But again, don't over-decorate. Some fonts that are very decorative, that are very special, that are very original, people see them all the time. You need something that is not popping out too much. And colors. There are lots of ways to choose colors. Some people who are really good designers or painters, it's very easy for them to choose perfect colors. For me it was always very hard because I'm going more from my mind and less from my perception. So there are some easy hacks how to choose colors. For example, if you have a beautiful illustration, or you have a beautiful photo that you are going to use as a main illustration on your website, you can choose the colors right from this photo. Because if the photo is beautiful, usually it has some beautiful colors in it. And it's easy to go. Or you can go to Pinterest, or you can go to Pantone Color Institute. For example, Pantone Color Institute, they choose the best color of the year, every year. They make a research about the modern fashion, and they choose the main colors that are in this year for the modern fashion. And as an example, my website for selling French lace, every year I change all the colors to be the same as the color of the year from the Pantone. 2-3 colors are enough for you. Yes, 2-3 colors are fine, and you don't need any more colors. 2-3 is okay. So how can you make it faster? I was telling you about all this long production. How can you make it shorter? Like in a traditional way, you're going through all these steps, but if you are using a website builder, if you're using WordPress with a ready-made template, you can squeeze everything to one point after the research. You can just start making everything right on your website. You can use your website while you're making it as your wireframe. You can use it, you can change it all the time. So you start working with a template, or you start working with some kind of online tool like Wix or Squarespace. There are lots of online website builders. And just by you start doing it, you start writing the content there, and just at some point of time, when it's good enough to publish, you just make it public, you just publish it. And you never stop after that, you just continue and continue to develop it. We can make a small pause if anybody has any questions or anything.
I have a question.
Yes?
Which of the template website builders are the best?
I will get to this a little bit later, like in the end. Usually there is Wix, there is Squarespace, and there is a big amount of templates on the theme forest for WordPress. But the thing is, on the theme forest, lots of templates, they look good, but when you start using them, they have too many restrictions. Because when they tried to make them look that good, they made it very restricted, so you can't change a lot in it. You should keep the same style, keep the same colors. So if you are choosing a template, choose something as universal as you can get. Choose something as simple as you can get, so you can customize it and you can change something. Because if something is very particular, is very decorated, you won't be able to change it that much. So, again, the bigger picture. Now I will talk a little bit again about research of your business and how different businesses are different, and why building the website can be so complicated for you. Why is it such a big problem, and why I'm spending so much time on talking about research. You can divide how difficult something is to do, how difficult your project is, into 4 categories. How it is predictable and how it is hard to do. For example, easy and predictable projects and easy and predictable businesses are like traditional business, or like making food, or like do it. Then there is hard and predictable business like rocket science. If you're launching a rocket into space, it's a very hard thing, but it's very predictable, because you know, in the end, you have a rocket that you need to launch. There will be a rocket in the end. But they can be easy and unpredictable. So in the end, you don't know if you have a rocket, or if you have a board, or if you have a car, or if the bicycle maybe will be enough for you. You have no idea what will be in the end. It can be easy, but it's very unpredictable, and you never know what will happen. And there is hard and unpredictable. This is like a state of war in business. Everything is very hard every moment, and you never know what will happen next. It's businesses like at the top of the different IT companies. So to solve any project, there are different project management approaches. There is a classic project management approach that is depicted in the book. It's called PMBOK. It tells you how to organize your work, how to organize your business, and usually it's only now started to be more diverse and different, but usually it was telling you how to do it in the waterfall method. Waterfall method is when you have a very big project, and just to finish it, you divide it into smaller parts, like with a spaceship. You research your engines, you build your engines, and you launch your spaceship. But you have to divide it into big parts. But the thing is, if something fails at any stage, at design, at development, at testing, you have to go back one step. For example, if you are designing something and your design doesn't work, it means that your research was wrong. If you're already developing something, if you're coding something, and something goes wrong and it doesn't work, it means that your design was wrong. And if you are testing something and launching something and it doesn't work, you're again going back again. It can be very fast and very efficient if you know what you're doing. So if you know exactly what kind of business you're doing, if you're opening, for example, a restaurant, it can work very good for you because it's very straightforward, very predictable, very easy. So for an easy business, for a business that you know what you're doing, it's a good way to go. And another way to go is Agile method. Agile method is also dividing everything into small parts, but these parts are very problem-oriented. So you're not thinking about launching a spaceship, you're more thinking about small problems. You decide that you have only one small problem, and you're solving this small problem. It has all the same steps, but they're all compressed into one small sprint. Usually in the software development, it takes like 1-2 weeks. Usually one sprint is 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, you have to deliver something to the client. You have to make something. You need to have some kind of a product. And this way is the best if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know where your business is going. For example, if you have an online shop and you want to sell clothes and you want to start making clothes, you can start with only dresses for girls. And later, on the second stage, you are starting making pants for girls. On the third stage, you are starting making jackets for boys, for example. And if something fails, you can always just erase it and do another thing. So take everything in small portions. And the main philosophy here is to fail fast and start again. So actually when you are failing in Agile, it's a good thing for you because you are gaining some new knowledge and you understand something better. This is Agile Manifesto. I will not read everything, it will take too much time. I will publish this presentation later online, or you can Google for Agile, and there is like basic principles, why is it good. It was the same things that I was talking about. Minimum viable product. So, for a start of the business, you need to start your website, you need to choose what you're doing, you need to choose your first problem. And your first problem should be a minimum viable product that you can give to a customer. It should be minimum, with the minimum effort you can give to it, but it should be at the same time viable. So it should be something that you can actually be useful to another person. Whether it's a service, a product, or anything. So like this, here is, for example, it's like a waterfall approach, when you know that you're building a car, and this is like Agile approach, when you don't know what you're building, maybe in there should be a board or something else, maybe there should be something totally different. So to make this from this is quite easy, but this next step can be quite hard. So this thing can take a lot more time than this thing. But here, you are doing business and you are getting money and you are getting feedback all the time. The point is, if you are doing it like this, you will spend a lot of time and you are not sure what will be in the end. You're not sure if it will work in the end, if people will actually buy your cars. But here you're getting feedback and here you're making business all the time. So if you're building a website, build it as fast as possible. Just start it right now and just build one page and start doing something. You need to start doing something to understand what to do next. So it's just enough to publish, it's focused on the small group of early adopters, and the main point of this whole thing is not actually selling something, but to get feedback from your customers and to understand what you're going to do next. Here's a good definition. The minimum viable product is that version of a new product which allows a team to collect the maximum amount of validated learning about the customers with the least effort. So it's about marketing, it's about getting information about yourself and about your customers. We can make a small pause if anybody has any questions. Okay, so now we're to more practical things at last. All the philosophy is ended. So how to make a website in one night? Yeah. So maybe you don't need a website at all. Maybe different social media will be enough for you. You can make a Facebook page and it will be very easy for you to get lots of people to like your Facebook page through Facebook ads, etc. And nowadays there are lots of tools for Facebook and you can actually sell products on Facebook. There are special websites that you can use to integrate it into your Facebook and to use your Facebook page as an online shop. So maybe Facebook page, especially if you are like a photographer or something, if you are selling your services, maybe Facebook page is enough and good for you. Then there is other blogs and social media, Medium, WordPress, Tumblr, Pinterest, Instagram, and you can also use them and only them for your business without making any website. You don't need a website at all. I've seen a couple of companies who are using Instagram and Pinterest to show a catalog of their products. I've seen one shoes brand and all their shoes were on Pinterest. And I've seen some maybe sunglasses brand who had all of their sunglasses on the Instagram. So they were not selling them online, they were just showing them online to buy them in the shops, but they actually used only Pinterest and Instagram to update the products. And the good way in this thing is it's very easy to update and to maintain. You don't need any sophisticated learning how to update your website. You just update your social media and your catalog is updated. Once I made a website for one fabric shop, for one textile shop, and the owner of the shop was an older woman and she was not very good in the internet, but I made it this way so all her products were on Flickr. And she just updated them on Flickr using her iPad. It was very fast and very easy for you. And then this Flickr was integrated into the website, so once she updated it into the Flickr, it was updated on the website. So there are lots of uses how to use social media for yourself as your website. And there is website builders, as I was talking about, Wix and Squarespace. Wix is more simple, and you can build a quite complicated website with just dragging and dropping stuff on it. But the bad thing is not very modern. It doesn't work that good on your phone or on your laptop. So it's good for some traditional simple website, even for complicated website, but it has its own limitations. And then there is Squarespace. Squarespace looks a lot like WordPress. It's more simple than Wix. It doesn't have such sophisticated drag and drops things, but it works better with the phones, with the tablets, etc. Then the next thing we have SaaS. What is SaaS? SaaS is software as a service. Software as a service is when you pay some amount of money like every month and you get some piece of software for yourself. You're not buying it, you're renting something. So you can rent online shop from Agile or from Shopify. Both of these shops, they let you install this thingy into your Facebook page. So if you're using Agile or Shopify, you can use also your Facebook page also as your shop. Agile can be free, they have like a free version of Agile, but it's less beautiful than Shopify. Shopify is a lot more beautiful than Ecwid, and you can make an actual website, not only shop, on Shopify. Ecwid is only for a shop. On Shopify you can make like a beautiful website. But Shopify, they have only a trial period and you have to invest into it. Also, Ecwid sometimes is better for the future because it's easier to get the data from Ecwid, because they have special things how to get all your data from there. My first version of my own shop for French lace was made with Ecwid, like in one night. On the next week I got my first order, and it stayed on Ecwid for the next like 8 months, and only after that I got all my data back from Ecwid and created my own website on WordPress. Then you can use Etsy, eBay and others. Actually on Etsy, especially on Etsy. Etsy is good because it already has a community, because you should look for your clients where they actually are. And many of your clients, especially for creative people, they can be on Etsy. Maybe you don't need anything else, you need only a good promotion on the Etsy. I've met a guy in Berlin, he had a wonderful shop on Etsy. He was selling like vintage stuff. He was traveling all around Germany, picking very particular, very interesting objects, and he was selling them on Etsy, and he was very popular. Newspapers were writing about him, magazines were writing about him, so he was pretty big, and he still was only on Etsy. So maybe Etsy is one. Or in the end you can build your own WordPress website, but it takes somebody with some technical skills, or you need to learn some technical skills. I was thinking about maybe making a workshop about WordPress, but it takes some sophisticated technical learning, maybe. Any questions about this? Maybe I need to clarify anything? No? Okay. Online marketing tools. So after you made your website, you can go into how to promote it, how to work with your clients. The first thing, especially if you are into services, is customer relationship management. There are lots of different CRM systems where you can integrate all your communications with your client into one website. So you can manage all your, for example, emails in this program. It's like online websites, like SaaS, where all the emails will go through it, and you can see how this project is going, on which stage this client is he replied to you, he didn't reply to you, did you need to write him another letter, and you can cooperate different people at the same time on the same project using these high-rise.
Right.
High-rise, yes. There are lots of other systems. There's like Sugar CRM, there are High-rise. High-rise is just one of the most popular. It's the same guys that made Basecamp, and they're also very famous for their book. They made a book about how to build a business. It's called, I think, Getting Real, or something like that, because they work like separately in different places, and they're very good at organizing their work. And they build the next thing I'm talking about. They build Basecamp. This is the thing to organize your work. GTD is for getting things done. There are lots of information about it online. If you just Google GTD, if you don't know already about it, you can get lots of information how to organize yourself, how to get things done, how to make to-dos for yourself. So Basecamp was one of the GTD tools for small teams where you can work on your project and when can you assign different to-dos for different people on your team. So if you're working in a small team, maybe Basecamp could be very good for you. Or there's another option, there's also more modern thing that is called Slack. Slack is like a messenger. It's like a messenger where you can make to-dos. So Basecamp is more like a forum, where each to-do is like a bulletin board, where each to-do is like a message on the bulletin board. And Slack is more like a chat room, is more like Twitter, like a messenger, where you message with your team when you more actively cooperate with your team. Then there is Google Analytics and Webmaster Tools. Google Analytics is the most powerful tool to analyze visitors on your website. It looks quite scary, but it's actually very, very easy. And if you're using some of the pre-made shops like Ecwid or Shopify, you can integrate Google Analytics there, and you can see how many clients are actually buying things and how they're giving you feedback or buying something. For example, you can track if somebody comes from the search results, if this person sends you a feedback email, or if this person buys something, how many revenue you get from Google, from Facebook clicks, from direct visitors from your website, so you can understand where you got your money from, where you got your most important clients from. And then there is MailChimp. MailChimp is for newsletters. You should never ever in your life make a newsletters from your personal email account, because this way you can get banned, you can get into the spam lists, etc. MailChimp, they work directly with all the big mail providers, so your emails, when they go from MailChimp, they will not go into spam, they will go into special promotion folder if you are using Gmail, or they go into your inbox if you're not using Gmail. So with using MailChimp, you can be sure that your emails will actually get to your customers. And it is free for all the small businesses. I think it's free up to 5,000 or 1,000 something clients. And it's very easy to get your clients in there. You just make an Excel list with all the names and all the emails, and just upload it there, and you got your own mailing list, your own newsletter. Hootsuite. Hootsuite is for social media. I personally don't use it, but I've used to use it like a long time ago. If you're very into social media and you need to manage like lots of social media accounts, you can use Hootsuite. Hootsuite lets you integrate the Google+, Facebook, Twitter, and lots of other social platforms, and you can post at the same time to different places. You can reply from the same place to all the people. It's quite useful. And the last and the most, I think, powerful tool is if-TTT. If-TTT, if somebody knows it, it's if this, then that. It's very, very flexible. You can take any two services online and link them together. For example, my friend, he made himself a recipe on, it's called recipes. All the things that you make on if-TTT, it's called recipes. He made a recipe on if-TTT, so every time he likes something on Instagram, this photo gets uploaded to his Dropbox. So he has like a Dropbox folder with all the photos he really likes. Or you can do something else. You can do, for example, if somebody posts something on Twitter, you get a notification. If you post something on Twitter, it gets posted on Facebook. So it's also very good to organize your social media, to make it reblog automatically from one place to another place. Yeah.
So
Any questions?
The last one, it runs in your computer?
No, it's like an online service.
Okay.
It's very easy, and there are lots of pre-made recipes, there are lots of popular recipes that you can start using very fast. It's very simple. It's as simple as it can be. And very powerful. Facebook ads. I made lots of mistakes with making ads on Facebook. The first and the worst mistake I've ever made was making a Facebook ad for a very wide audience. I was picking like several countries, and this way I got lots of bots on my Facebook page. And when you get lots of bots on a Facebook page, and when you post something on Facebook, real people don't see this post, only mostly bots see this post. And Facebook, it's made the way that if you have a Facebook page and you post something, or even if you have a personal account on Facebook, if you post something, usually like 20% of your followers see what you actually posted. So that's why people are spending money on these Facebook ads, just to reach for their followers. And you should make your audience for your Facebook ads as narrow as possible. You can target only people with very, very particular interests, from the very particular city, maybe even from the part of the city, I don't know, maybe it's only on Google. You can target gender, anything. So you should make as small group as possible. You can install a Facebook tracking pixel. It looks very complicated. Facebook tracking pixel is like a small code, and it's buried somewhere deep inside the Facebook ads machine. But when you find it, it's actually very, very easy to do. You just put a simple and very small code on your page, and this way you can make ads that will be shown on Facebook to people who visited your website. So this way you can get people into your Facebook page from the people who were on your website. It's very good and very powerful. And make shareable content. I won't give you any examples. There are already lots of examples online, how to make giveaways, how to make contests. Just Google Facebook contest ideas. Facebook give away ideas. There are lots of inspiration on how you can make something very, very shareable. Very, very shareable.
Man,
Yeah?
what's exactly the problem with getting bots on your Facebook page?
Because, for example, you got 5,000 people on your Facebook, on a Facebook page, and you, for example, 2,000 people from them are bots.
Mm.
You post something on Facebook without making an ad, and it's seen by 200 people maybe, by 300 people maybe, and like 75% of these people, they are bots.
Okay.
So nobody saw your... And when you, sometimes you should advertise your own posts only to your followers. Often I use Facebook ads only to promote my own posts to my own followers. Because my own followers, they don't see my posts. That's the problem. Google ads. Google ads are very complicated and take a lot of patience and a lot of time to do. So usually it's easier and better to make just good SEO and PR. SEO is search engine optimization. Search engine optimization depends on how many links you have to your website, how many friends you have, how many times you're featured on Facebook in different articles, in the newspapers, in the magazines. So as much public attention as you can get, you should try to get as much people as you can get to link back to your website. You should do it. And also, search engine optimization depends a lot on the original content. So you should never just take content from another page or from Wikipedia or from anywhere. Always write a content by yourself and try to make it like a real content, not a fake one. But if you still want to do Google ads, you should make like lots and lots and lots of ads, because you can make a separate ad for every type of search query. Back to lace. There are wedding laces, and they are the same obviously as bridal laces. People are googling for wedding dress, for bridal gown, for wedding gown, for bridal dress, etc. There are lots of combinations, lots of different things. And you should try to make your ad the same as was the query. So you should make a specific, very specific, as specific as you can get, ad for every query you have. And also you should target them to different audiences around the world, to specific cities, specific countries. The best way is to use like specific cities even. I think it's on. Yes, it's all. Thank you. Again, I don't know what was obvious, what was not obvious, what would you like to know more, what you don't want to know more. I was thinking about making maybe workshops. If somebody wants to actually build a website, we can start with the analysis and with wireframes, or if you are ready to make a website, we can make a WordPress workshop or something. If you are interested in something, you can ask me.
How do you even choose a city where you want to market your stuff? I mean,
It's hard. It's just from your experience, from your early adopters. For example, my lace, they sell good in Australia, in New Zealand, and in some of the cities in the United States.
exactly how do you figure that just from experience?
Yes. Just I got some clients, and then I start promoting myself more to these clients. I've got some clients from LA, some clients from Sydney, yes, some clients from Singapore. That's why you need to get your first clients to talk to them to understand what they're doing, where they live. Yes?
How did you make the promotion yourself? Just in 1 week you get the first order?
I didn't promote anything, that's the point.
It was the
From Google.
it was so unique.
Because
So
there are not so
this-
many good French lace shops at all. It's very hard to find very unique and genuine French lace online. So somebody probably was googling very, very hard, and maybe she found me like on the 5th, on the 6th, on the 10th page of Google results, because my website was so new and it was not in the top 10. But they still found me because they really needed this product.
So as soon as Google included your
Now
your site into his base, you get the first order in 1 week.
Yes.
Okay. Another question about generally the designing of site. There are the dark or light theme.
Yes, yes,
What is the better? In my idea, probably the images are more important. Probably the dark is better.
No, it depends on I'm sorry that I interrupted you.
Yeah.
It depends on when are you looking at your website. For example, you can go to the readers, how you read a book.
Yeah.
If you are reading a book in the darkness, you go into the dark color scheme. If you are reading a book when there is lots of light, you need a light color scheme on your phone. Usually people are using their computers, their phones and everything when there is light outside. So you need to make it also light. Because if it will be dark, it will be too contrasting, it will be too high contrast.
So your set is light.
Light, yes.
Okay.
Maybe if you're targeting for somebody who lives only at night, who works only at night, maybe there is a very specific group of customers who are only at night. And this way you need to make website in a dark scheme. Yes. That's all? Okay, thank you.